Coming back to you guys with another video today. This one I'm going to keep relatively quick because they're really in-depth technical topics related to the triple jump and the long jump that I would like to go into more detail in a future video over the next couple months. I know a lot of you guys are getting ready for your off-season training. Some of you guys are already doing it. Some of you are already running cross country and you're thinking about indoor track season around the corner. You want to do the fun stuff like the triple jump and the bounding and all of that. But before you do that, I want you to keep in mind 4 things. These are 4 potential mistakes you're making that are preventing you from jumping further in both the long jump and the triple jump. And without further ado, let's get right to it. Mistake number 1 that I see often, all too often in younger and lesser experienced athletes is that their approach is way too long. A lot of times people think that because they saw the professional triple jumper or long jumper with an approach that was 18 strides and like 150 feet plus on the runway that they had to mimic that in order to be able to run fast and jump far. But what ends up happening is the complete opposite. When your approach is too far, especially as a newer jumper, what ends up happening is you're running for so long that you slow down at the board. The longer your approach, the more room for error if you're not technically proficient to execute that approach properly. Here's what I mean by that. If you start off and your approach is 18 strides, but you probably have no business running at anything further than 10 strides, well, you can expect that less than halfway through your approach, you're probably going to be slowing down, your sprint mechanics are going to start to break down, and all of that means that when you get to the board, you're going to be out of position, you're not going to jump far. Again, this does not matter whether you're a long jumper or a triple jumper, or even a high jumper for this matter. Okay? So remember, approach does not need to be too far. You got to find that sweet balance of just far enough where you can maximize your speed. Remember, I said in a video over the summer, the goal in the triple jump is to maintain as much speed as possible throughout each phase. You will not be moving any faster in both the long jump and the triple jump than you will be at the point of takeoff. So you want to conserve as much of that speed as possible. Oftentimes, people who have approaches that are too long would be better off cutting their approach in half, running all the way as fast as they can through the board, and they often end up jumping 2 to 3 feet further just because of that. So keep that in mind as you're training. Is your approach too long? Are you slowing down at the board? Make the necessary adjustments if possible. Point number 2 is oftentimes people have poor sprint mechanics. If you're a long jumper, you just have to look at yourself as a sprinter who jumps at the end of that sprint. If you're a long jumper, you're just a sprinter who jumps. And if you're a triple jumper, maybe you have a little bit more leeway, but at the same time, you're still a sprinter who jumps and has to be even more powerful to get through multiple jumps. If you're running with poor sprint mechanics, what's going to end up happening is, again, just like in point number 1, it has the same effect as point number 1 actually, where you're going to be at the board in poor position. Proper sprint mechanics essentially means you're running with your feet striking underneath your hips. There are going to be some degrees of difference here, of course. You may have your feet striking just a little bit in front of your center of mass. That's kind of natural. If it's way out in front, like you're reaching, or far behind you, both of those are counterproductive. So as you begin your training, your off-season and preseason training for the 2022 season, remember, work on your sprint mechanics. Even in cross-country season, I know that sounds like something you probably never heard before, but when you're not doing a heavy day on the cross-country course, or if you're running cross-country at all, throw in a couple A skips and B skips. Maybe do a few 30 to 40 millimeter accelerations. It'll help you run faster on the cross-country course when it comes for your kick, but at the same time, it'll help you develop the proper sprint mechanics that you're going to need when you hit the runway later this year. Point number 3. This one is more specific for the triple jump, and this is about your rhythm. Oftentimes, people in the triple jump just have poor rhythm. That means your hop is too high and your step is non-existent, your jump is also non-existent. Or maybe you're running too fast and your hop is really far, but you don't have the leg strength to continue the second 2 phases. The way you remedy this, and now is the perfect time of the year to do this, is by bounding. You've heard me talk about this 100 times on this channel, and I'm going to keep talking about it so I'm blue in the face. Bounding is the number 1 thing as a jumper you can do to strengthen yourself, to be able to jump farther and be able to handle more speed coming down the runway, whether you're a long jumper or a triple jumper or a high jumper or a pole vaulter or a sprinter or anything. If you are bound, even cross country and distance runners get benefit from bounding the plyometrics. It develops leg strength. Because think about it, when you're running, each time you run, as your foot hits the ground, you have to bounce back up. What is the triple jump but a much more exaggerated version of that, where you're running really fast and you have to hit the ground and bounce back up? So you need to train your legs to become more spring-like, and that's what plyometrics and bounding is meant to do. I have videos on this channel already about bounding. I'll link them somewhere on the screen or in the description below. So dive all in that, and I will be creating more content and uploading more videos about bounding in the near future. If you're not quite making it to the pit with the same level of speed that you took off from the board, address whether your hop is too high or too long or somewhere else in your technique. Oftentimes, you don't need to try as hard as you think to jump further, especially in the triple jump. And the final point of this video is that a lot of people go around and skip the details of training. Now, what does that mean? If you've been watching my channel recently, you know that I came back from an ankle injury in early 2020. And now I'm back. I'm probably better than where I left. Still have some ways to go, but that's why we keep training. And what I'm doing in my training now isn't just going out and jumping every day, but what I am doing every day is super simple exercises that I can do with my eyes closed. I'm doing exercises that would be considered rehab. I'm doing exercises that would be considered prehabilitation. I'm doing exercises that in the past I would have completely neglected or never even thought to do. But now I realize that in order to jump far, to get on the runway and jump another personal best, you have to look at the smallest details. These are all the small, intricate details that it's very easy to throw off to the wayside because you're like, I would rather just go jump or rather just go sprint than do these boring little exercises day in and day out. But they're one and the same. On the spectrum of jumping far, you can't look at the small, minute exercises as being any less significant than the bigger exercises like actual jump training and jump days, okay? So remember, address this minute details of your training and you're going to see massive improvements over time. Not overnight, but over time. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. I am going to bounce. It is Friday. I'm hungry. And I just wanted to make sure I got these videos recorded and sent to you guys sooner than later, because I know that this is a prime time in the year where what you do now is going to have a direct effect to your competition in the next 6 to 9 months. So remember, put in the work today, put in the work in the off season, in the preseason, do the hard, not fun stuff, because you'll benefit from it later. But also do it wisely. Listen to your body, listen to your mind. Okay? If you like this video, you know what time it is by now. Leave a like, subscribe, comment. It helps the channel grow. We're almost at 1,000. And once we cross it, I'm going to announce something that everybody here is going to love. All right. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Peace.